D-Mase, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you on a Friday afternoon. We hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful Friday. It will be better if the Vanderbilt women can come back to defeat Notre Dame. 140 left in the third quarter, 48-41 Irish. A rough start for the Commodores. They cut into the deficit, but now it's at 7 with under 2 minutes left in the third quarter of the Sweet 16 of the women's tournament. So we'll keep you apprised of what's going on.
Just not a good start whatsoever for Vanderbilt. They were nervous, tentative. They turned the ball over a ridiculous amount of times. Michaela Blakes went 0 for 8 to start the game. Notre Dame's been playing physical. They're overplaying on the perimeter. And Vanderbilt just has not found a rhythm. They're fighting to stay in the game. I still think they're capable of making a run here, but just not what they're capable of.
If the Commodores can pull this off and win, they're looking at a date with UConn in the Elite Eight. No disrespect to North Carolina, which has to play UConn, but let's be real. UConn's going to win. So I want to see Vanderbilt go up against UConn in the Elite Eight. So let's see if the Commodores can come back down 6 points with a minute left in the third quarter. Also, breaking news within the past hour, Tiger Woods was involved in a rollover car crash in Florida. No details about the cause of the crash have been released. Police are investigating. There is a news conference scheduled for 4 p.m. Central. Not the first time that Tiger Woods has been in a car wreck. So hopefully Woods is okay, but details will emerge in about an hour.
Yeah, well, it looks like, man, Vandy got to get it together. They got one more quarter. Kind of get this thing together. You're right, Willie. They just seem, and I know the Tiger Woods thing is important, but they just seem a little bit out of sync, man.
They have been from the start.
And, first half, Michaela Blakes was 1 for 13. And it's just they're not matching the intensity that Notre Dame has right now. So, but they got another quarter, and hopefully they can pull it together.
The Predators fall 4-2 to the New Jersey Devils last night at Bridgestone Arena. The Predators' 5-game winning streak comes to an end, perhaps in quote-unquote controversial fashion.
I don't think there's a question mark at the end of that. I think it was very controversial.
The Predators were down 2-0. They tied the game at 2 on goals from Reed Schaefer and Steven Stamkos. Late in the third period, Matthew Wood gets called for slashing. The Devils score on the ensuing power play, and then the Devils score an empty netter to win 4-2. But the Matthew Wood slash, you and Chris Mason and the crew had a great angle of it on replay. And I would call that call questionable.
I think you have to look at the whole game and how it was officiated to arrive at the frustration level that you clearly heard from Steven Stamkos and to a lesser extent, Andrew Burnett. Andrew Burnett was very careful on how he answered the questions that came in the locker room. But if you didn't see the game, it was a 2-2 game, about as even a game. Would you agree? About a dead even game as you're going to see, right? It was back and forth. If you look at the analytics, the chances were almost identical. And Nashville is right in the game, 2-2. They weren't calling penalties. It was one of those games where they're letting them play. Both teams are playing hard, but each team had one penalty called against them around halfway through the third period. Then they called a penalty on Fedor Svechkov, who, in my observation, stripped the puck from Jack Hughes cleanly, but then as he followed through, Hughes' skates got caught underneath the stick of Svechkov, who was he pried the puck loose cleanly, is going after the puck. Hughes trips over him. They call a trip on Svechkov. I didn't like that call, especially the way the game was being called, but I get it. It's Hughes. It was like a Michael Jordan kind of call. Hughes was dominating the game. So I get that call. Nashville gets a big kill. Then they call right after it a very ticky-tack slash on Matt Wood, which, again, the way they'd been calling the game, they had let stuff like that go the entire game. And to call back-to-back penalties like that was a game changer, I thought. And then the Devils score the go-ahead goal. That's tough. But then in the closing minutes after that, there were other times where if you're an official and you know you've changed the game a little bit with some tough calls, they failed to call a couple of other plays where I thought they could have called the same level of penalty against the Devils, one particular one on Tyson Jost, and it just didn't happen. So it was tough. It was a tough one to swallow. The Predators still battled. They had good chances late. There was the one that Steven Stamkos had after Ryan O'Reilly stole the puck from the goaltender, Jacob Markstrom. It was a wide open net. Luke Hughes blocked it. I'm not sure how he blocked it. I'm not sure Luke Hughes knows how he blocked it. The whole net was open. And then Matt Wood hit the post in the closing minutes. So it was such a razor's edge game. It was a really, really tough loss to stomach in the context of where they are. And it's just a reminder that there's still a long way to go in the season, and there's still going to be some twists and turns in the plot.
Let's hear from Steven Stamkos. You can sense the frustration in this clip. Let's play it.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Just, pisses me off a little bit the way that the game ended on that power play goal. So, I get it. It's tough. The refs call what they see. No matter how much we yell and scream, they're not changing the call once it's made. So, but it's just, it's a 2-2 game coming down to the wire. They haven't called a lot of penalties in the game. They just gave them a power play, right? We kill it off. And there's, in my opinion, probably no need to call that particular play. But, it is what it is. And it just sucks with the magnitude of the games and points for us at this time of the year. In saying that, I didn't think we played our best either.
That was part of Steven Stamkos's reply after the game. But to Stamkos's point, this is how razor thin the margin for error is for the Predators. They have 10 games left in the season. They just won 5 in a row. They lose in regulation last night. The LA Kings win in regulation on the road, a 4-0 win in Vancouver. The Kings are now 1 point back of the Predators. The Kings are about to open a 7-game homestand, which includes 2 visits from the Nashville Predators. So I was trying to calculate this in my mind, and I wasn't able to come up with a concrete answer. But it wouldn't. Tell me if, Willie, you tell me if this is off base. I don't think the Predators can lose more than 2 of the remaining games in regulation to have a shot at the playoffs. The margin,
out of 10 games?
The margins are so thin.
You have to win 8 out of 10?
They had a 5-game winning streak. They lost last night.
No, I'm saying how many games you think it's going to take? Let's see. They have how many points right now? They have 10 games left.
I said I didn't calculate it anecdotally. You can tell me I'm wrong. It's okay.
Well, you're saying, okay, if they win 8, that would be 93 points. You think it'll take 93 to get the last spot? I don't think so.
Okay. So how many games do you think the Predators can afford to lose in regulation?
I think 90 points would get in there.
Okay. So
maybe less. I mean, the calculations, the projections have been under 90 for months.
So
now,
that
one
would
team
be
could
13.
Really,
that would be 13 of a possible 20 points.
Yeah.
So how many?
That's to get to 90.
Yes.
I'm not sure it will take 90, just with the way these teams have played all year long. Now, one team could really get hot. That's the thing that you can't account for. And there's a lot of teams that have that many games left. But I think it's more like you need 6 wins and probably an overtime loss or 2 to get there.
Okay, so that would be They have 10 games left.
Yeah,
6 wins.
6-2-2, 6-3-1.
Okay,
I
so
think
that would be
right there.
That would be 2 regulation losses. That was my point. Was I don't think they can afford to lose many games in regulation the rest of the way with how tight the standings are.
Right. It would depend on how many overtime losses are in there, right? The 3-point games.
Sure. My larger point, however, is it just goes to show you how tight this is going to be. The Predators were the hottest team in the NHL until last night. And yet they're still now only 1 point up on the playoff spot, despite having won 5 in a row before last night. So a big back-to-back this weekend. Montreal at home tomorrow. Tampa Bay on the road on Sunday before the Predators go on a lengthy road trip that will certainly determine their fate in the playoff race. They visit Tampa. They come. I assume you come home after that, right, Willie? It's a one-off.
Yep.
Okay. Then you go to Los Angeles, San Jose, Los Angeles, Anaheim, and Utah. That is a huge road trip. But last night's game, for as well as the Predators have been playing, the penalties, question them if you would like, cost them at the end. Steven Stamkos did not bite his tongue. Andrew Burnett did, because he doesn't want to get fined by the NHL. Scott from Shelbyville says, that call was ass. No way that call of Svechkov should have been called, nor the Wood call. And look, it's that time of the year. Things are so tight that a call either way, good or bad, can change the outcome of the game. The way that the Predators had been pushing at that point, if not for those penalties, it's reasonable to believe that they would have pulled off another multi-goal comeback. But it is what it is.
Well, I think that game looked like it was destined for overtime. I don't have a problem with one or the other of the penalties. It's this calling both back to back. I always go back to the saying, officiating is an art, not a science. And just the way that game was flowing, the way it had been called the entire game did not match up with what happened in the final 10 minutes there. With the back-to-back penalties that were both debatable, to call them both in succession and then not call anything when there were other similar things on the same level that could have at least said, well, your guys got a penalty and a power play opportunity as well in the last 5-6 minutes. It just didn't happen. So frustrating for sure. But this is the challenge of the stretch run, is you have to bounce back. You have to overcome the adversity and find a way to get there. But this is what's going to be fun in the last 10 games. There's going to be more twists and turns. Not everything's going to go smoothly. That nobody's going to sit back and just hand you the playoff spot.
And this is what you were rooting for, Adam, right? The story. The story. You're going to get it no matter what.
I really don't want to deal with crazy Predators fans today, guys. I've been doing it all week. I'm not saying anything today that's going to be misconstrued as me cheering on the Predators' demise, because that's not what I'm doing. So I am not taking the bait today, Derek Mason.
But that's what they hear.
I know.
That's what they hear.
Michaela Blake's going to the free throw line to complete a 3-point play. She hits the free throw. Vanderbilt down 57-54 with 6.5 minutes remaining in this Sweet 16 game.
Blake's is just getting super aggressive, just attacking the basket at all costs. She's not having a good shooting game at all. She started 1 for 15 from the field. She's hit 5 of 6 just by going to the hoop. She's getting fouled. She's got him within 3. Vanderbilt's trying to pick up the pressure defensively here. It's going to be a heck of a finish.
You can't leave it wide open.
Yeah, they're having the pressure, and that's leaving people open for threes. They got to hope that Notre Dame misses a few here.
But she's had some easy buckets too, Michaela, and she's missed them right at the front rim on layups.
Yeah,
now,
shots that she normally makes.
Yeah, the shots that she would normally, follow through with contact. Now she hits who was that?
That was Galvin that just hit the 3 to tie.
She's
the only one that's got the range from
Aubrey
outside.
Galvin, 22 points, just hit a game-tying 3, under 6 minutes left, 57-57. We shall see if the Commodores can pull it off.
Yes.
615-737-1025. Your reaction to the Predators' 4-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils last night, which snapped Nashville's 5-game winning streak. The Predators are back in action tomorrow at home against Montreal, a 6 p.m. Central puck drop. Remember that. A 6 p.m. Central puck drop tomorrow at Bridgestone Arena. Canadiens versus Predators before the Predators head out on a lengthy road trip. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow will join us. We'll get into the NCAA tournament with Chad. Maybe a little LSU, perhaps. We will do it all. You guys are frustrated. I'm not looking at the TV screen right
No,
now.
that was a bad call. It was just a bad call. to
Illegal
me.
screen called
Yeah,
against
It's
Vanderbilt.
a bad call.
Well, we'll keep
Like
you
back-
updated.
Basketball, they don't know when it's like they allow some things and then some things they just want to call, and it all looks the same. It does.
615-737-1025. Chad Withrow coming up next. Tonight, Vanderbilt baseball hosts Tennessee at Hawkins Field. First pitch is at 7 o'clock. Catch all of the action right here on 1025 The Game. Coverage is presented by Gary Force Acura. 94.9 The Fan is your home for Nashville Sounds baseball, presented by Family Leisure and Social Cantina. Today, the Sounds open the season against the Norfolk Tides at 5:35 p.m. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. The Sounds open at home on Tuesday. Looking forward to being back out at the ballpark. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick. Hi, Chad. How are you?
Doing well, guys.
Chad, your beloved Vols are looking to get back to the Elite Eight later today. How are you feeling about the Vols' chances tonight, and what must they do to knock off Iowa State?
Well, first off, I do want to say that, someone who grew up watching a lot of Tennessee basketball, it felt like making the Sweet 16 would be the ultimate goal for a team as a Tennessee basketball fan. And the fact that Rick Barnes has made 4 in a row and is trying for a third straight Elite Eight is a level of good that I never expected. And it's been awesome to see under Rick Barnes. So I want to give the proper compliments and praise to Rick Barnes and where he has this program right now, back in another Sweet 16, which is a really incredible accomplishment. As far as this game goes, this gives me Houston of a year ago vibes, and I don't quite understand why. I think it's just the fact that I'm combining Iowa State's defensive pressure and how they force turnovers with Tennessee in their losses this year, guys, and you've seen it. They commit untimely turnovers. I really thought that was going to be the death of them against Virginia. In those final 7 or 8 minutes, it was missed free throws and it was turnovers. And I'm thinking, well, this would be a fitting and poetic way to end the season, because in every game Tennessee lost, it was missed free throws and it was turnovers. But they found a way. They made all the plays in the last 2 or 3 minutes they needed to, and they got back to the Sweet 16. Guys, it just feels like to me this is Iowa State's. This is their type of game. I know Tennessee's going to have an advantage down low. They should be able to get offensive rebounds. But even if Joshua Jefferson doesn't play, which, by the way, I think that's actually better for them, because if he plays, he's not going to be anywhere near 100%, and that could actually hurt them. But if he doesn't play, I still feel like Iowa State has an advantage in this one.
Chad, has there ever been a more audacious coaching trio than Lane Kiffin, Kim Mulkey, and Will Wade? And why does it seem like LSU gravitates towards these messy divorces?
So everybody's been trying to name this trio, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but someone online, I wish I could credit who it was, but someone online referred to this trio as Will Wade, Lane Kiffin, and Kim Mulkey, as in credit, an ode to C.S. Lewis, the Lion, spelled Lyin, the Witch, but replace the W with a B, and the Wardrobe.
I saw that.
So
it's
the
fabulous.
Lion, the B word, and the Wardrobe, and I'm thinking, man, creativity is not dead in America. That was fantastic. Whoever did that, I don't know if they had a writer's room to come up with that, but that was really well done. So I did love that. Look, they love the drama, but more than drama, they love winning at LSU. And this is just a school that said, hey, Lane Kiffin's won everywhere. He's going to win his first national title with us. Why? Because Ed Orgeron and Les Miles won a national title with us. So Lane Kiffin certainly can. And I think the Will Wade deal, I don't like it. I mean, they fired a guy for cause and then brought him back. But I think if you really look behind it, we had Matt Moscana from Baton Rouge on our show today. And he said most of the people at LSU never wanted to fire him, that it was sort of a bargain and a deal cut with the NCAA because their football program was being investigated. So to not get the football program in major problems, they needed a pound of flesh. And that pound of flesh was Will Wade. So they fired him for that reason. But no one on the board, no one there at the time except Scott Woodward, who was there, who's now out, wanted him gone. So they said, hey, this guy won. We're going to back him financially. He's going to go get great players, and we're going to win again. So it's all about winning at LSU. And I guess the cynic and everybody could say it's all about winning everywhere. But that is certainly the case down there with the decisions they've made.
Chad, let's get back to your Vols. They're in the Sweet 16, but their star player hasn't played well, Nate Amen. Can they continue to be led by Jacoby Gillespie in order to advance, or do Nate Amen needs to step up and start making some shots, or is he still sort of, dealing with the injury?
Yeah, D-Mase, it feels like the law of averages always kind of wins out in these things. Gillespie's been fantastic.
Mhm.
I mean, he's been awesome. And I would say the same with Vanderbilt. Duke Miles was on fire, leading into that game, and he couldn't do anything against Nebraska. Eventually, you kind of hit a wall, even the great players and great scorers, and they're going to need help from other great players in the team. Yes, I think Nate Ament has got to produce more than he did in those first two games. He didn't score a single point against Miami of Ohio. I think he played only 8 minutes in that game, clearly was favoring the leg. That's coming off of a really bad performance, 1 for 13 or whatever it was, against Vanderbilt in that SEC tournament. So they're going to need more from him, no doubt. But they really need everybody to step up. Crazy stat that I saw earlier this week. Bishop Boswell. When Bishop Boswell has 17 combined points, assists, rebounds, or steals, the number is 17. They are 17-0 as a team. So if they get anything from Bishop Boswell, and they got 4 threes from him against Virginia, that is an X factor for Tennessee. They don't expect much from him, but he needs to do something. Ament's got to step up. I don't think you can expect Gillespie to be this hot in every game the way he was in the first 2 games. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to take a team effort. I thought Jalen Carey for the first time in 3 months did a little something against Virginia. They're going to need help from a number of people if they're going to advance, because I think this Iowa State team is pretty special.
Now, looking at the SEC, a year ago, it was touted as the best conference, and it, the toughest, and it was. And this year, it seemed to be evened out, but it still was a tough conference. How would you sum it up now, considering you only have 2 teams in the Sweet 16, and not many thought that UT would be this far, but you only have 2 teams going into the Sweet 16. So how would you sum up their season if it ended at the Sweet 16?
Yeah, Florida's the big disappointment,
Yes.
right? I mean, that's the one that everyone had marked down for a possible back-to-back national championship. So them going down in the second round was going to hurt the league no matter what. D-Mase, I think a year ago, the SEC responded and confirmed what the committee thought of them with those 14 bids, with how well they did in the tournament. They got 2 in the Final Four. They won a national title, so it confirmed what they thought. This year, the SEC, I think, got 11 teams in the end. And they're not doing as well. I don't think that their performance in this tournament confirms that they were necessarily the best conference in college basketball. Now, I think it's kind of dangerous to say, well, the SEC was overrated because, Missouri lost or some other teams lost early in the tournament, or teams didn't advance, or teams got a bad matchup. Alabama's got to play Michigan tonight. Alabama could win that game, but I could see them losing by 30 in that game as well. Tennessee's got a tough matchup. So, yeah, I think it's – certainly would say, based on the evidence of this tournament, not as good as a year ago. And I think getting 11 and not 14 in would tell you not good as a year ago. A year ago, the SEC backed it up. This year, they haven't.
Chad Withrow is with us. Vanderbilt now down 2, shooting 2 free throws, a couple of consecutive plays involving Aubrey Galvin. She turned the ball over on the first. It looked like on the replay she got absolutely crushed on the play. It turned it into a fast break layup. Second play, she gets the call. Now she's shooting 2 at the line, 56.7 to go, trying to tie it up. She makes the first. Chad, let's talk baseball for a moment. Like, with all this great March Madness going on, you got the Predators, you got the NCAA tournament, men and women, you got all these great things going on. Why are Vanderbilt and Tennessee playing baseball this weekend? What kind of scheduling is that by the league?
I have no idea, Willie. I mean, what is going on in 2 weeks? Once we get past the Masters, like 3 weeks in May, of all the scheduling and all the things going on in college sports right now, and opening day of Major League Baseball and everything else, the women's tournament that's happening that we're watching right now also, it's insane to think about doing that and putting these games this early in the season. I don't get it. Look, I think there's a chance for true growth. And we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years in college baseball. But if you really want true growth, you need exclusive windows where you are the main event. And in this state and in this city, this series could be the main event. It's not going to be the case when Tennessee's playing in a Sweet 16. It's not going to be the case when people are betting and watching NCAA tournament games at night in the Sweet 16. So I think it's a huge miss by the SEC. I have no idea why these games are in March and not May or April. Or just later in the season once the tournament is over. But, yeah, I think it's a giant miss because this is a series now that people really care about. It was all Vandy for a while under Tim Corbin, and Tony Vitello got Tennessee back on their feet in the series. And now we get to see Josh Elander for the first time in this rivalry, but no one's going to be watching because everyone's going to be watching the Sweet 16.
Yeah. So, Chad, we've now seen the heavyweights. I was impressed with Arizona last night. I just did not think they would have that easy in a time with Arkansas, but they did. I mean, they looked really, really good. Michigan and Duke, we know how good they are. Illinois, impressively, won fairly easy in Houston against Houston. So right now, if you had to pick the favorite to win it, who would you pick?
I think it's Duke because I love Cam Boozer so much, but man, Arizona gave me something to think about in how they just handled how they handled Arkansas in that game. Also Illinois and those big guys and their shooting ability. If they played great defense last night against Houston, if they can play defense anywhere close to that with the way they score and the way they shoot it, I think they're going to have a chance in this tournament. Willie, I think we've learned is, having really good big guys is a good thing. When you look at these teams, Michigan as the number 1 seed, all these teams with these guys 7 foot and above that are really good big guys. Tennessee, a very big team that's still playing right now, mainly because they go get offensive rebounds the way they do. Purdue, we saw it on an offensive rebound tip in. They beat Texas last night. So, it's kind of going back in time a little bit, but having those bigs is certainly beneficial for these teams.
Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow has been our guest on tongue-tied central. Chad
I'm
Withrow.
watching the same game you guys are, so I know that it's very distracting right now.
Chad Withrow from Hot Mike
wow,
with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick has been our guest on D-Mase, Vingan, and Donick. There you go. Chad, always a pleasure to chat. We'll catch up soon.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You as well. 615-737-1025. Notre Dame up 66-64. 22.9 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. We'll see if Vanderbilt can tie the game or perhaps win it at the buzzer. 615-737-1025. We will look back at Sweet 16 action from last night coming up next. In the meantime, swing by T-Line at 106 Duluth Avenue in Nashville tomorrow for their annual Crawfish Boil starting at 2 p.m. $30 buckets with a complimentary drink, indoor and outdoor seating, plus curling and cold drinks. Also a great place to catch the basketball games. 102.5 The Game will be on site from 3 to 5 with great giveaways and prizes. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 102.5 The Game.
Marcus Lawrence, you put all that. Look at this pass. Oh, my goodness. Fulgaris! What happened?
Well, that was a major defensive breakdown there.
Watch it again. Well, they just don't guard Fulgaris, and he's waving for it. How about the vision there? Buchtengel trying to get back in the play.
Wait a minute. I think Nebraska only had 4 defenders on the floor. They did. Rink Mast is not on the floor.
Oh, my
Nebraska,
goodness.
that is a major breakdown. They didn't even have 5 guys on the floor when Iowa was inbounding. You can't match up like that.
Can you think of a bigger blunder and a bigger moment than Nebraska last night having 4 defenders on the court at the end of the game against Iowa?
I mean, I don't know how that can
That's crazy.
possibly happen in a basketball game. That is, I'm not sure if especially not in a situation like that. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's not Norman Dale
Yes.
in Hoosiers, where he says, my team's on the court. And he just decided to prove a point to his team.
It's easy to do it when it's 22 people, supposedly everybody's, but come on.
One more time.
I'm
Kick
sorry.
it out. Kick it out.
Come on, Michaela.
One time.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was in.
Ah,
Vanderbilt lost.
yes.
Vanderbilt loses 67-64 in the Sweet 16 of the women's tournament. A tough loss for the Commodores. Michaela Blakes had a turnover. Notre Dame hit 1 of 2 free throws. A couple of chances to tie the game there. Vanderbilt unable to do so. So the women have been eliminated from the NCAA tournament.
Just too bad. They just did not play as well as they played all year long. Picked a bad time to have just a very poor offensive performance. Fine on defense, but too many turnovers and just didn't shoot the ball
It's
well.
uncharacteristic.
I think Michaela Blakes was, 7 for 26, 7 for 27 from the field. That just doesn't happen.
Man.
Michaela Blakes finished 7 of 26 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3.
How many turnovers for the team? 16, 17. They had
23.
23. They had
You can't
13.
win.
They had 11, I think, in the first quarter alone.
You can't win with 23 turnovers.
Aubrey Galvin had 6 turnovers, 23 as a team, as Notre Dame eliminates Vanderbilt 67-64. Notre Dame will move on to play either North Carolina or UConn in the Elite Eight of the women's tournament. Let's get back to what happened last night on that call. Nebraska, Iowa, fabulous game. Nebraska, some sort of breakdown. 4 players on the court following a timeout. Iowa gets an uncontested layup. Well, I guess it wasn't uncontested because Nebraska fouled the shooter for a 3-point play, which put the game out of reach. Fred Hoiberg, after the game, placed the blame on himself, but did say he wasn't sure whether the officials should have checked to make sure his team had 5 players on the court before they restarted the game. Is that the responsibility of the officials to make sure you have 5 players on the court?
I don't think so.
Me either. I mean, they're not there to tell you, hey, listen, you got 5 or 6 on the court. That is up to you. And the head coach dropped the ball on it, or somebody, head coach, assistant coaches. And I can understand how, during the timeout, the head coach is solely responsible and concentrating on the play and what's being ran or what he wants to run. So it's up to somebody else to make sure that you have who you need to have on the court. And at that point in time, the Nebraska coaching staff failed the team. That's basically what happened.
I think old school coaches probably got a chuckle out of that, because it used to be you had a maximum of like 3 assistant coaches. Now, if you take a look at these staffs, there are 25 people there with suits on and clipboards and towels and everything. Like, one guy can't look out and say, we got 4 guys, coach. Come on.
Coach, hurry up. Somebody run on the court.
I mean, I'm sure there was an old school coach that, back in the day, I was the only coach. I had 1 assistant. He was part-time.
Oh, my goodness. So y'all let this.
Like, you look at a TV timeout. How many people are associated with the basketball team? It's ridiculous.
Yes.
It's like 2 people that are not dressed in uniform for every guy that's in a uniform. It's absurd. Now you got the guy with the replay monitor. You got, I'm sure there's 3 guys doing that. You got all the managers. There's like 12 managers.
And nobody said, hey, coach, it's only 4
we only got
guys
4.
out there. That's like being on your own sideline and you realize you only have 3 defensive backs out there and it's supposed to be a 4th. You only have 1 of the 2 corners and you're looking right at that and nobody said, hey, we're missing a corner. That's what it's like. I mean, everybody couldn't have been zeroed in on the play. Somebody had to be, watching this. Like Willie said, you're paying all these people to do what? Drop the ball in a situation like this? Well, there you go.
Well, let me ask you this question, Willie, as a sports fan. After seeing Nebraska defeat Vanderbilt last week, was there any part of you, when you saw how that game ended last night for Nebraska, was there any part of you that felt a little warm and fuzzy inside?
I think I go the other way. I think I'm more of the if you lose to a team, I think I've always felt better when that team continues to advance.
Derek, how do you feel about that?
Are you like that, or you like?
If they continue to advance, then that's like, hey, listen,
they're not like that.
Not at all.
I'm not. Especially if it's a closely contested game.
I am a spiteful sports fan.
Now, see,
you want them to
only time I'm spiteful is when Michigan's involved. Anybody else, if they beat us, so be it.
I'll give you an example. This time last year, Duke an all-time choke against Houston in the Final Four. So to watch Houston also choke 2 nights later and lose to Florida in the national championship game, loved it. Absolutely loved it. I have always been the sports fan where if your team beats my team, I don't want that win against my team to mean anything. So if St. John's, for example,
it always going to mean something.
If St. John's beats Duke tonight, which could happen, it's going to be a great game. If St. John's beats Duke tonight, and let's say St. John's goes on to play your Spartans in the Elite 8, I will be rooting with my nose plugged for Tom Izzo.
Man, so you're that guy that when you get caught, hey, y'all, we caught. Come on out. Come on out, y'all. We caught. It's like, no, you're caught. Like you want everybody to be like you. Like since you're miserable, you want that fan base to beat you.
Loves company. Misery loves company. That's all I'm saying.
I would rather the team that beat me. If they go on to win the championship, great. If they lose in the next round, I don't know how, unless it's Michigan. But outside of Michigan, I don't know how I feel. I mean, obviously I wouldn't care, but I wouldn't be upset that they lost or anything like that. I wouldn't be cheering that they lost. Like, yes, they lost because they beat us.
I'm not saying it's one of my finer qualities.
Well, at least you know.
I'm not saying it's one of my finer qualities, but I am a spiteful sports fan. Okay. That's how it is.
You're not alone.
No.
I was happy. After Houston beat Duke, after Duke choked last year, I was happy to watch Houston also choke against Florida. So it is what it is. I can't change it now. I'm 37 years old now, 37 years old this week. That's just the way it's going to be. One texter says, is it their responsibility? I assume meaning the officials. Is it their responsibility to make sure they didn't have 6 or 7 players? Not saying right or wrong, but definitely interesting to think about. Would they have stopped play for 6 guys?
I don't think they would.
I think you just call it tech.
A tech. Yeah,
that's what they're supposed to do.
They're not supposed to warn you. Just like on a football field, they don't warn you that you got 12 people out there. They just let it happen, and then they tell you about it later once they throw in the flag.
Elsewhere in the Sweet 16 last night, Arizona hands John Calipari his biggest loss in the NCAA tournament, 109-88. That 21-point difference, the biggest loss for John Calipari in his storied history in the NCAA tournament. I believe he's coached something like 85 games in the tournament. Arizona, that's a wagon, to use a hockey term.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are picking Arizona to win it all. I see why. Arizona was clinical last night on all ends of the floor, both ends of the floor. So That's a scary matchup. And Arizona will play Purdue. That was a thrilling end to a game. Texas ties it on an and one.
Yes.
Purdue wins it on a putback with time expiring. Purdue versus Arizona tomorrow.
Purdue is going to try to slow the game down versus Arizona. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Arizona looks kind of sort of the way they've been sort of mowing through all of this, sort of like UConn is doing on the women's side, in a sense. But this is what I wondered about Arkansas. Which Arkansas team would show up? Now, Acuff, he showed up and he played. The other guys, not so much. But Arizona's just say, you have to be on your A game to beat them. You know, so I'm not sure if this could beat them, honestly. Will I be rooting for the Spartans? You damn Skippy if they make it, which I think they will. But, man, it'd be a tough task. Anybody trying to beat Arizona right now.
I expected Arizona to score a lot of points. Arkansas is not a great defensive team, despite their talent. But to get just blown out of the water like that surprised me a lot. So I was impressed with Arizona. And in my brackets, I hate to say it because I'm not rooting for Michigan. I don't really like any of the teams that were the true contenders that I had to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
But I have Michigan. And it's like I'm in the running here. But Arizona can, if they win, I'm in trouble because I have underestimated Arizona.
John in Nashville says, talk about the horrible officiating in favor of Purdue last night. They were gift wrapping bad calls, and Purdue plays such a trashy style of basketball. That's John in Nashville. Okay, Justin Strickland. Is Adam purposely saying Houston weird, or is it just me? It's not Houston. Let me tell you something, Justin. God, everybody's just nitpicking everything I say this week. Okay, I am the proud son of two New Yorkers. My father was born and raised in Queens. My mother was born and raised in Brooklyn. If you listen to the morning show every Wednesday and you hear Paul Gaharski, who's from that area of the country as well, you swallow your H's, okay? That's just how I was raised. My parents say Houston or huge. I say that as well. So am I saying it weird on purpose? No, that's just how I say Houston.
Say Harry.
Well, it's different.
Say house. Say house.
Yeah, say house.
That's
I'm just
different.
messing
How's
with you.
that
I know.
different?
Because it's
H-O-U.
well, it's
Houston.
house and
House.
Hugh. House and Hugh.
I understand the Huey Lewis in the news.
Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis.
He actually
new
is.
song by Huey Lewis.
He actually is Huey Lewis to me. Thank you very much. Let's go to Chad on our phone line. Chad, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Yeah, how's it going today, fellas?
Good, thank you.
I just wanted to call in. I'm calling from Canada, actually, but I've been watching the Sweet 16, and I just wanted to send over my hate to you guys. I've been watching the show, and you guys are terrible. It's a fucking...
Whoa. Whoa.
He was listening all the way from Canada.
Chad.
And no, I would love for Chad, like Chad, Texas, please, because you can't be such, you have the potty mouth when you come on the radio, man. You know that. Maybe you've been drinking. I don't know. I'm going to excuse it. Maybe you've had a few being it Friday. But text in. We would love to hear what you got to say. Like, what are we doing or not doing that has pissed you off so much that you had to drop the F-bomb?
From
Damn.
Canada, from north of the
From
border.
north of the border, which means
Wow.
you've been listening for a while, which if you don't like it, turn it off.
I take it as a compliment.
I do too. I really, that's why I want him to text in.
And I'm feeling like he's in Eastern Canada because it might be happy hour there.
Yeah, you're right.
And he got an early start. He
Maybe.
might be noon drinking if it's out west in like Vancouver or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. Chad, we actually do kind of want to hear from you after that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
Well,
No, like he can
don't
text
answer
us.
his call.
Yeah, he can text us.
He can text us. 615, and so can you. 615-737-1025. It's a Friday.
Hey, take it for what it is.
It's a Friday. 615-737-1025. Tee it up with us at the 5th Annual 615 Open, May 28th at Hermitage Golf Course. We are once again supporting Folds of Honor to help them fund life-changing scholarships for families of America's fallen heroes. Register now to play or sponsor at 615open.com. D-Mase, Vingan and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. We have some exciting news. In 1 hour, we're dusting off an old favorite. Ask D-Mase, coming up at 5 o'clock. It's been a minute since we pulled Ask D-Mase out of the drawer, but we've dusted it off. We've shined it up real nice. And if you've got questions for Derek at 5 o'clock, especially if you're our new friend Chad.
Chad, this is for you, buddy. This is for you.
615-737-1025. That coming up at the top of the hour. Josh says, have we received any updates on Tiger Woods' rollover car accident that happened today around 2 p.m.? We have not. I believe there is supposed to be a news conference starting right about now. Tiger Woods was involved in a rollover car crash in Florida today. He's had some rough luck.
Yeah.
With cars in his
rode
career.
over in one, what was it, California?
In 2021, he was in a one-car crash outside of LA in which his SUV rolled several times and left him trapped in the car.
Man.
Hopefully he's okay. There have not been any reports of injuries or whatnot. We'll see what happens with this news conference, which is, I guess, supposed to start right now. So we will keep you.
No wonder they call him Tiger.
Yes.
Like a cat.
9 lives?
Yep.
There. So I just want y'all to know that there is somebody on my side, John in Nashville, a diehard Texas fan, says, I hope Purdue gets absolutely thrashed by Arizona. So we have another spiteful sports fan. Thank you, John.
Well, as long as you and John and the others out there, as long as y'all realize it.
Yeah.
And
again, I'm not saying it's my finest quality, but we
it's
all
a
have
quality nonetheless.
We all have rough edges, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe not Willie.
Smooth.
Maybe not Willie. Do you have any rough edges?
I got some rough edges.
That was the least convincing.
Exactly. I got some rough edges.
I do.
A few.
Now, I do not go this far. John says, the Texas fan, normally with the Preds, if a team beats us, I want them to win the cup. But last night still has me angry. I got put in Twitter jail for saying I hope number 4 for Purdue got hit in the face with an RC car.
Why would you say that?
That is
mean.
I've never done anything like that.
Wow, that's mean.
So, John, maybe you went a little overboard.
Just
but
a tad
I'm
bit.
glad that you're on my side when it comes to being a spiteful sports fan.
And this is why when you say that sports fans, what did you call them?
Mature?
Yeah, mature. When the minute he says sports fans are mature, we have texters that we love like that. Sports fans are not mature. I'm a sports fan, and I can be extremely immature when it comes to the Spartans. So they're not mature. We're not mature when it comes to sport. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, why not?
Check on Derek at around 10:30, 10:45 tonight after Michigan State's game against UConn.
I think I'll be a happy camper after that game.
It's going to be a tough one.
Oh,
It's going to
absolutely.
be a great game, but it's going to be a tough one. Dylan in Antioch says, man, I really want to hear what Chad had to say now. We kind of do too. Chad, I don't know if you're still listening. We are actually asking you to text us because we're not picking up the phone call after that.
Yeah, we can't do it, Chad.
We can't pick up the phone. But we'll read your text. We'll clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You can ask D-Mase at 5 o'clock, whatever you want. So,
Or do you?
I think Chad had a different agenda. I
Yeah.
think he was just trying to stir it up.
Baba Booey,
Guess so.
perhaps?
Absolutely. In his mind, at least.
Chad's on my list.
Chad's on David's
No,
list.
Chad's not on it. We ain't going to even give him that type of, energy. He's not on our list. It's not on it.
One texter says, hey, team, who the fart is going to play center and right guard for the Titans? All this talk about drafting Jeremiah Love or not, what does it matter if we don't have anyone to block?
Well, I mean, you're right about that. And I don't think, at least not on this show, I don't think we've glossed over that at all. I think, especially at the beginning of this whole process, with the things that we felt this team needed immediately. And, at first we thought Cushenberry was going to be back, and they end up cutting him. And then you don't know what Zeitler's going to do. So now they are in the situation. I know they went and got a few guys, but those guys are are sort of backup guys or rotational guys. They need someone that's going to be, a perennial starter, year after year or game after game, however you want to say it. And right now they're looking to fill those voids. That's why I'm just curious. Why did they cut, Cushenberry? I'm sure it had to do with money, but why did they have to cut him so early? That's and you didn't really have or is your plan to play Slater at center and let him truly compete for that center position? But cutting a veteran like that, listen, he didn't play his best and he's come off his injuries, but to not have unless they are predicting that somebody on their roster is going to play that well in camp, it's going to convince them. But why would you, part ways with Cushenberry? I'm sure it had to do with money and, maybe bonuses, but that's just one that I'm sort of still puzzled by in a sense, because it wasn't like you had to cut him right now. You had the most money, unless there was a bonus involved.
Apparently, Tiger Woods has been arrested for his role in the car crash. Details are emerging out of this news conference. We will continue to keep you apprised of the situation. But apparently, Tiger Woods has been arrested for his role in this auto accident.
But as far as we can tell, that no injuries have been reported yet, correct?
I have not seen any injuries reported.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's when they say you can get in a single car accident and they give you a ticket, but arrest you and take you away?
Yahoo Sports says Tiger Woods was arrested for DUI after a 2-car accident Friday in Florida. Martin County Sheriff's Office announced.
Oh, so it was a 2-car accident. I don't know why I thought it was a single car accident.
Still learning details. I don't want to give any of you incorrect information.
This is
But that's Yahoo Sports
exactly.
putting that out there?
Yes.
And listen, this is separate from Tiger Woods. And obviously, this situation sort of brings up those thoughts. And listen, everybody, whatever they choose to do after a night out, you just hope you're responsible. But someone like Tiger Woods, why would you even put yourself in that situation? That's the part I never understood. If you were, it's not like you got into an accident, where you were distracted by your phone or something, even though you shouldn't do that. But why would anybody, especially someone that has the means to, hey, listen, I need to get home. Y'all drive my car home and y'all take me home. Why would you then get behind a wheel? Maybe he figured he was close to home and I don't know. I just wonder about that sometimes.
We'll await the details.
Yeah. But Tiger brought up the thought, but I'm just saying people in general.
Gino says, I am a petty sports fan. Not kill an ancient tree level petty sports fan, but enough to tell little bro better luck next time. Love you, D-Mase. Go blue, baby.
Whatever with the blue.
Whatever with the blue.
That's what I call you. I can't even say.
Let me see what I want to see what the over under in the Alabama-Michigan game is tonight. I have to imagine it's pretty damn high. 172.5.
Wow.
Is the over under. 172.5. By comparison, Tennessee versus Iowa State, 139.5. UConn, Michigan State, 136.5.
Is that the largest? They are what? 9.5.
Michigan is
favorite?
9.5 point favorites.
Is that the largest
for the
point
for
Sweet
the
16.
games today? Today for sure. I don't think any of the games yesterday were more than 9.5.
Okay.
Michigan State is 9.5. Duke is 6.5. UConn is 2.5. Iowa State is 3.5. So let's focus on Tennessee versus Iowa State. We heard from Chad Withrow in the first hour. Tennessee has an opportunity to get back to the Elite Eight, but it starts with a win tonight against the Iowa State Cyclones, a 9:10 p.m. Central tip-off in the Midwest region. That's at United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Our very own Joe Rexroad is there covering the tournament for The Athletic. And Willie, you heard it from Chad. the one thing that stands out to me in this game is taking care of the ball. Tennessee is prone to turnovers. Iowa State forced Kentucky into 20 turnovers last week. I believe they scored 25 points off of those 20 turnovers. The points off of turnovers margin was something like 25-12. So if Tennessee has any chance of vanquishing Iowa State, Chad does not sound too confident about that, by the way. He's expecting a Houston-style beatdown of Tennessee, as we saw in the Elite Eight last year. But if Tennessee has any chance of winning this game, the Vols have to take care of the basketball.
And they're facing an Iowa State team that is ranked 4th in Division I at turnover percentage. Remember, we talked about Vanderbilt's opening matchup with McNeese. McNeese, number 1, with the way they pressure the ball and cause turnovers. And so Iowa State, not far behind, 22.5%. That means between 1 of every 4 and 5 trips down the floor, they're forcing a turnover to their opposition. That is a great way to win games. And they are in the top 10 of steals. So they're aggressive. They're going to pressure. And Tennessee turns the ball over, as we just mentioned and Chad mentioned. They're ranked 225. So that is a big matchup favoring the Cyclones. But there are a couple X factors here that we've mentioned, right? Nate Ament, I still haven't seen him at his best since he twisted his ankle. I still think he's probably feeling the effects of it. He's a critical guy tonight, and this is going to be a physical, high-level defense he's facing. Can Iowa State neutralize him and force the other guys to have to make the plays offensively? We know what Tennessee is going to do. They're going to play really good defense. They're going to get their share of rebounds. Part of the reason they're such a great offensive rebounding team is they miss a lot of shots. They're not a great shooting team. So there's a lot of rebounds to get, but to their credit, they get them. So they get extra possessions. And then the other X factor is Josh Jefferson, who he twisted his ankle in the very first game against Tennessee State at the beginning of the game. So I don't know what they're getting, if anything, from him tonight. It's impressive that they've gotten this far and are still favored over Tennessee without him doing a whole lot.
Yeah, this is Tennessee's advantage. One, they have to get Nate Aitman going. He has to. He can't continue to shoot the way he's shooting. He shot, 4 from 11 against Virginia Tech.
He is 4 for 14 from the field in 2 games.
Exactly. They need him. And I know Gillespie has been, playing his tail off on both ends of the court. But if they're going to advance, they need him to step up. And I believe he will. But the advantage for UT is they're a bigger team, and they got to use that. I think Iowa State's biggest guy in their rotation is a 6'11" freshman. So the size isn't there, but they play extremely good defense. They get you to turn the basketball over. UT has to use their size. They have to, especially Amen. If he's going to get some rhythm, he has to put his back against the basket and use some of that low post game. Get himself to where it's either a foul or he's making or trying or attempting an easy bucket. They can't sit and play an outside game with Iowa State. When you're bigger than them, you go down in the middle and force them to play a brand of basketball that you love playing, physical type of basketball.
I am impressed with Iowa State losing Jefferson and then whipping Kentucky without Jefferson. I mean, Jefferson, for those that may not be familiar with him,
All-American.
He's an All-American. And I look at this, I love the Ken Palm. Everybody looks at it now. It used to be more cutting edge where people were trying to still figure out what it was. What does it mean? But Josh Jefferson is rated number 2, the most efficient player in the country behind Cam Boozer. So you take the number 2 player efficiency-wise off the board, and they still beat Kentucky by nearly 20 points. That speaks a lot about the Cyclones and what they're about. So I don't know. Like, does anybody know if he's playing tonight or not? Is he going to try?
He's listed as questionable on the availability report.
Yeah, it's not good.
So that's certainly something to watch tonight.
And he gives them added size, 6'9", 6'10", somewhere around
in the NCAA, versus the conferences, this is something I've learned during this tournament. The NCAA has 3 designations: out, questionable, or available. There's no quote unquote game time decision on the availability report in the NCAA as there are in other conferences.
I saw him get hurt against TSU. And when you twist an ankle, you know, a lot of times you lace your shoe tighter and you're able to sort of limp around and try to walk it off. There's that kind.
Arkansas guy did that.
He was not able to put any weight on his ankle. He was like hopping with the aid of his trainer and teammates. You know, he had his arm around. It was that kind of thing. So that would tell you that it was not just the run-of-the-mill roll of the ankle. It was pretty significant. So how fast does he heal? Will he be 100% if he does play? These are all things they've got to figure out. But they played pretty well without him.
I meant the Texas guy last night. He rode his ankle.
Yeah.
Tremont Mark.
Yes. And he played through it.
He played a great game. Yahoo Sports says Tiger Woods was arrested for DUI after a 2-car accident Friday in Florida. I think I mentioned that already. Tiger Woods was charged with DUI after refusing to take a urinalysis test. Woods is cooperative, but appeared impaired in the wake of a 2-car accident Friday.
So do they arrest you, then do the urine test, or are they on the spot?
Now, I don't know.
So what happens is they did the
sobriety
test on the road. He says he's already had all those surgeries, so that's why he may or may not have passed that.
Okay.
Also, but then he blew zeros on the breath test.
Okay.
But he wouldn't do the urinalysis test.
Well, I can probably, you can assume why he didn't want to. Some type of medication that he may have been taking, you know, because he's had a lot of injuries. So especially if, you know, you blow into the breathalyzer and it blows zero. And then you sort of do have an excuse because you've had the back surgeries and everything else. So, you know, oh, well.
We'll continue to bring you details on this. By the way, something I completely forgot about until today, that Jacoby Gillespie started his career at Belmont. Played 2 seasons at Belmont before transferring to Maryland and then transferring to Tennessee.
Belmont's had a lot of guys that have transferred and done very well.
It's incredibly impressive.
And still continue to win.
Yes.
I like what they've done. They brought a guy back who is from the family, Evan Brads. They've kept Brian Ayers around, so they've still got the same DNA, I think, that will help them continue to be the program they've been. But it's really admirable. There's a list of probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 guys now in the last few years that have gone on to some really good things.
I was reminded of this because Sportico had a graphic today of the starting lineups for all Sweet 16 teams with logos of where each player in those starting lineups started their careers. And I saw the one with Belmont. I'm like, who was that? And then remembered it was Jacoby Gillespie. By the way, Derek Spartans, the only team in the Sweet 16 where all 5 starters started their career at Michigan State.
Because we do it right.
Purdue's similar. Purdue has, I think, 4 of the 5 that have been there. And a couple of the guys, you're like, hey, I remember watching that guy in the tournament like 7 years ago.
It seems like North Carolina will score more points.
Michigan starting lineup has 0 players who started their career
because they don't do a good job of recruiting young kids.
I see Illinois, UAB, North Carolina, UCLA, and Texas Tech. Those are the the first schools for the members of Michigan's starting lineup.
I do have an affinity for teams that have been playing together like this. The Purdue team, like these, they've got some guys who have been in the last 3 or 4 tournaments all playing together, growing up together. I think that's the ideal way to build a team. That's who I like to side with, but we know modern college sports is what it is.
615-737-1025. Your thoughts on Tennessee's matchup versus Iowa State tonight, a 9:10 p.m. Central tip-off. I will try to make it up for the game. No promises.
I feel for our brothers in the Eastern time zone. They got to stay up late to watch these games.
Yes.
What I do know is North Carolina will score more points than Syracuse. They are on pace to score more
They're
points
looking
than
good.
Syracuse. Yes, against
They're
UConn.
off to a good
The
start.
North Carolina
Yes,
women.
Yes,
Yeah.
North Carolina women. Yes.
North Carolina up 5-2 on UConn. A great start.
UConn off to a 1-for-9 performance from the field to start.
Uh-huh.
I'm bummed we won't see Vanderbilt potentially play UConn.
Yeah.
I was looking
Goodness.
forward to that matchup. 615-737.
I just hope that Michaela Blakes and Aubrey Galvin come back
Yes.
as a tandem
Well,
again next year
what are
for
the rules
vindication.
for WNBA draft eligibility?
You have to
Is
wait
it
all
3
4
years?
years.
Oh,
Is
4
it 4 years?
4 years.
Oh, well, that's good.
Interesting. So
And I think in this day and age, the spotlight is bigger on the college players, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like it's
Michaela
worth it to stay.
Blakes can make bank if
Oh,
she
yeah,
stays
absolutely.
at
Yeah.
Vanderbilt.
Shoot, she
Absolutely.
probably make more staying than she probably would going.
I think for the top players that's been proven to be true, right? That just the WNBA, they just
Not paying.
they
I
can
mean, I
only
know
produce a certain amount of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they've tried to band together players association, but it's what it is. So I think right now the trend has been the last few years the star players stay.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, I do want to ask Derek Mason a question about something that a top NFL draft prospect did not do at his pro day. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Tennessee Brew Works is our proud sponsor of football offseason coverage here on 102.5 The Game. Raise a glass with Tennessee Brew Works. Locally brewed, community-driven, the official craft beer of the football offseason coverage here on 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. An update on the Tiger Woods situation. He, quote, showed signs of impairment Friday at the scene of a car crash in which he struck another vehicle and rolled his Land Rover. Authorities said Woods was arrested on suspicion of DUI. The Martin County Sheriff's Office said Woods was not injured. I also believe nobody else involved in the accident was seriously injured. So at least there's that. But Tiger Woods, yet again, involved in a car crash. We'll bring you any more updates once we get them. So, Derek, I know that 40 times are not the be-all, end-all for wide receivers in the NFL. You do not have to have blazing 40 speed in order to be a top receiver in the NFL. Let us all remind you about John Ross. Remember John Ross? For a long time, held the NFL Combine record for fastest 40 time. And what did he make of his NFL career? Very little. That's an extreme example, of course. But I think 40 times are not the same as Reuben Baines' short arms, because I believe there's plenty of data to show you that top wide receivers do not have to run a 4.3 or a 4.4, for example, in order to be a top receiver. So Carnell Tate had his pro day at Ohio State earlier this week, and he chose not to run the 40. He ran the 40 at the combine. He ran a 4.53. Do you agree with his decision not to run the 40 after running a 4.53, which people would consider slow, at the NFL Combine?
I guess I'm torn from this standpoint. Do I think the 40 time is the end all be all? No, I don't. And I think I've, shared that sentiment before. But when you've ran a 4.53, I think the competitor in you would want to come back and see if you can run faster. This tells me he's been working out, he's been training hard, but he doesn't feel he's going to better that 4.53. Actually, he may think he may run slower than a 4.5. Because listen, he said, teams didn't make a big deal about his 40. So that was the reason, or one of the reasons why he chose to run it. Now, if you had ran a 4.2 or 4.3, it wouldn't have been, because he's saying it like it's overvalued. If you'd have ran a 4.3, it wouldn't have been overvalued. You'd have been like, hey, listen, I ran a 4.3 and I'm 6'3", 6'4", so that should count for more. So don't use it when it doesn't work. Don't try to dismiss it when it doesn't work into your advantage. As a competitor, I want to better my time. That's what I want to do. And we all know, even though I may not think that the 40 is end all be all, there are a lot of scouts out there that if you don't run, if he wasn't sort of in this lineage of great collegiate wide receivers, I think they would question the 4.5. I do. But because Ohio State, there's a pedigree there, it's like, okay, we've seen him play. We're not going to put as much emphasis on that 4. But had he ran a 4.3 or so, or a 4.4, people would have been looking at him as a top 5 pick, I believe, at 6'4", running a 4.3.
Is there another drill or something measurable from the combine that you look at, Derek? Because we always hear about the 40 time, but is there something else that you look at and say, well, he doesn't run super fast, but he makes up for it by this? Does he have that?
Yeah, I think his ability is being, for a big guy, being able to run routes the way he can. He runs sort of like a smaller individual. And he has this ability to go up and make majority of those combative catches. And he showed it at Ohio State. What I'm looking for, because a lot of this stuff is like, really, like, it's all against shorts, like catching a football, all that stuff, man. That doesn't matter to me because I would rather see you catch in a game than see you catch when nobody's around, when nobody's guarding you. That's easy to do for the most part. It's easy to do. Let me turn on the film and see how you do it when someone's covering you. So for me, I look at the 3-cone drill, those shuttle drills to show me his quickness, his burst, because that's typically what separates, just gives you the separation in these routes, because there's maybe on 2 occasions that someone is running a all-out 40-yard route. It's like 40 yards down the field, and we're going to throw it to you. Then I could really show my speed, my long speed. But a lot of this is within the 15-yard range. And then I want to see how you catch the ball in 10, 15, and then burst out of that. That's what I want to see. I want to see the quickness that is going to separate you. That's why Jackson Smith and Jigba and those guys are good or great. It's not that they got top end speed. It's that short distance speed that they have. They're able to separate very quickly. And he does possess that. That's what makes him, I think, the number one wide receiver, because it's a combination of his height and his strength and his ability to separate.
So Bob McGinn, veteran NFL reporter, he received this take from a scout on Carnell Tate. Quote, "Not overly explosive, but a smooth-moving dude. Great hands. I had him at 4.5. All the best receivers are 4.5. Jackson Smith and Jigba is 4.52. Puka Nacua is 4.6. Devontae Adams, 4.55. Who's the last 4.3 that's a great receiver? Tyreek Hill? It's amazing. We make such a big deal out of 40 times with receivers, but then just go down the list of great receivers. None of them ran 4.4 or 4.3.
Does that line up with how you evaluate receivers there?
Yeah, it's because to me, there's this combination. It can't just be all on your speed. Now, if you have the speed and you fit into the right, like Tyreek Hill, he went to the perfect team with the perfect coach. They were able to utilize the speed, but fast forwarded like 7 years into his deal, teams found a way to neutralize his speed. He went from averaging, 15, 16 yards to, I think his last season, he averaged 12 yards a catch, I believe, somewhere around there, because teams were not going to allow him to get deep. What he had to do then was catch it short and then explode. That's what, to me, these guys, when you talk about Jackson Smith and Jigba, it's about how do I separate? How quickly do I separate once the ball's in my hand? And then, am I making those combative catches? It's not necessarily how fast I am, down the field in a straight line, because a lot of times that's not what you're doing.
Between 2017 and 2023, Tyreek Hill averaged 14.6 yards per reception. In 2024, when he played all 17 games for the Dolphins, it was 11.8.
Yeah, the teams got, they found a way. Even in Kansas City, they found a way when they played the Kansas City Chiefs. They found a way for Tyreek not to beat them deep anymore. He had to earn, his yardage, because they forced him to throw the ball underneath and him then to run, because they were like, listen, we're not going to let you get on top of us. So that's why I say a great defensive coordinator, a really good defensive coordinator, they will find a way to neutralize your speed, especially if they play you twice a year.
So Carnell Tate not running a 40 and running a 4.53 at the combine would not be disqualifying for you if the Titans drafted him at number 4.
No. At number 4?
Yes, because he has a meeting with the Titans. Mm-hmm. He's not going to last past number.
I wouldn't draft him. I just wouldn't draft him at 4. I would move down, because if you move down 2 spots, you still would get him, I believe, at 6. Or if, someone may want to move up to get a guy. Well, if you're moving back and you still can get your guy, I don't think Carnell Tate will be a top 5 pick. That's what I'm saying.
Todd McShay has Carnell Tate going 6th overall to the Browns in his latest mock draft. Let's go to Adam in Portland on our phone line. Adam, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
I like Carnell Tate a lot. But I remember back in the day, because Derek, I think you hit it perfect. Kurt Warner was asked, because they were back in the day, they were talking about Usain Bolt. Like, if he were to put on football pads, what would it look like? He's like, I think it would be fun to throw him go routes like twice a game. He's like, other than that, I don't think he'd ever work out. And so pure speed isn't everything. I do have a question for you guys, though, and not specifically about Tate, but our guy Restrepo. I know he ran a terrible 40 last year, and it hurt his stock completely. Does he kind of fade out of the league now that we have a new coach, or does he get another opportunity on that practice squad? Do y'all know?
Thank you for the call, Adam.
I would tend to believe he'd get another opportunity, possibly on the practice squad. Here's the thing about Restrepo. I think he's a hell of a football player. I think he has a place in this league. But see, when we say, well, the 40 doesn't matter, well, in some cases, it don't matter. Some athletes, it doesn't matter. But for Restrepo, that's why he continues to get knocked. When they gave him an opportunity to play, what did he do? He went out there and he played well. After that, he got no more opportunity. Everybody looks at him, and they will always look at him as a 4-7 guy. And I know the Puka Nakuas and the Jackson Smith and Jigs, man, I'm not saying that Restrepo is those guys, but if you're talking about college, he was sort of their equal in college. But because of, the measurables, the one most important that he run a 4.7, it knocked him, and it will always be held over his head. So, yeah, it's only meaningless when they want it to be meaningless.
615.
But there's a big difference between 4.5
Yes.
and 4.7.
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely. There's a huge, but Puka ran a 4.6. So
He's got other problems right now. Puka Nacua.
yeah. So, but it's like, they use it when they want to use it. Why do you think Puka Nacua got drafted where he got drafted? Because of his 40 time.
Yeah.
And now that he's in the NFL and he's producing, now it's all of a sudden, well, you don't need the speed. Well, he may have gotten a little bit faster than that 4.6.
615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the NFL draft, including the debate that just would not go away this week. That just proves to you how quickly we need the actual draft to show up. We will discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. Do women not touch their ears?
Happy Friday, everyone. If you've been in an accident, if you've been in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. But Law Tigers fights to get you the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. They know how much your bike gear is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired or better yet, replaced. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Houston, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Street South. And don't forget, go to predatorsbike.com to enter to win a custom Nashville Predator Indian motorcycle signed by the entire team, courtesy of Law Tigers in Music City, Indiana. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
I think Ty Simpson is QB1. I think Ty Simpson is the best quarterback in this class. I think when you look at the body of work and what was asked of these two quarterbacks, you have to start with the question, who needed to do more to carry their football team to play well? Ty Simpson, and it's not close between those two quarterbacks. Who took more games over throughout the course of the season? Ty Simpson. It's not even close. And if we're asking, like, okay, we're trying to see what you are as a player in college and what you're going to be asked to do in the NFL and what translates. I start with, what do you do in moments of panic with the football? Because that's really what separates good to great. I would tell you that Ty Simpson is more consistent in that regard. There's not a ton of moments of panic out of Fernando Mendoza. And then there's moments when he immediately drops his eyes and becomes a runner. Ty Simpson more consistent in that. What guy was asked to do more NFL throws? When I say NFL throws, I'm talking 15, 20, 25-yard in routes, crossing routes, deep corner or sail routes. Yeah. Ty Simpson, and it's not even close in that regard.
That was Dan Orlovsky, friend of the show, on Monday on Get Up. And boy, oh boy, did that just open up a can of worms all week long. As Mike Florio writes at Pro Football Talk, the take machine abhors the vacuum. This is that quiet time between the end of NFL free agency and the start of the NFL draft, and we need something to talk about. And here comes Dan Orlovsky just throwing a grenade into the proceedings. Then he got into like a tiff with Pat McAfee. I wanted to play that clip, but Pat McAfee has a potty mouth, so we can't play that clip on the air. But it just, I don't think Dan Orlovsky set out to do that on Monday, but he did it. But let's humor Dan Orlovsky for a moment, because Fernando Mendoza is going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL.
Are we
draft.
sure? After that?
I'm positive.
You're positive?
I'm positive.
Because this happens most years, doesn't it? It's way too smooth to just say so-and-so is going to be the first pick. Most years. Because remember, we did, before Mendoza had the great postseason and Indiana did what they did, there was an article in The Athletic with a lot of scouts, not just one person's opinion, but it was a collective with a number of scouts saying that there were no quarterbacks worthy of a top selection. This was before Simpson decided to go pro, but it included Mendoza. And Mendoza was in with all of the other best quarterbacks, and there was like a kind of a meh. There's not a franchise guy in here.
It feels similar to what we experienced here a year ago. It feels like it's a coronation for Fernando Mendoza. All signs pointed to Cam Ward being the number 1 overall pick in the draft at this time last year, and that's what happened. So that's why I am siding on the idea that Fernando Mendoza, whether he's number 1 pick worthy or not, is going to be the number 1 pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. But let's humor Orlovsky for a moment. And I have a lot of respect for Dan Orlovsky. He's a very smart guy. Do we buy the Ty Simpson hype? Do we think that Ty Simpson can be a better quarterback than Fernando Mendoza in the NFL? Do we think Ty Simpson can be a good starting quarterback in the NFL? One thing that stands out to me is Simpson has started 15 games in college. And what's the one thing we've been hearing a lot about lately?
Game started is really important.
Cam Ward started a ton of games in college. Game started is a big deal. Here is a list of round 1 quarterbacks with fewer than 20 college starts in recent history. Anthony Richardson, Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance, Dwayne Haskins, Mark Sanchez. Just a list. It did not really work out for any of those quarterbacks in the NFL, the way that the teams who drafted them thought it would work out. But do we buy the hype? Is Orlovsky just trying to fill the take vacuum, or do we actually think this could be something?
Now, Trevor Maddich on our show the other day said he admires Orlovsky because he says he knows him well enough. He doesn't do these things for effect, which is hard to believe sometimes, because I do think ESPN enjoys when one of their guys goes out on a limb and stirs it up like this.
It's been a big part of the news cycle this week.
Yeah.
He's been on multiple ESPN shows talking about what he said on Monday.
Is he concluding? Is he sticking by his gun saying he is a better prospect, that he would take him over Mendoza in the draft? Or is he just saying, hey, let's take another look at this? Because those are two different things.
I haven't followed all of his follow-ups, but what you heard coming back was the first thing he said that started this whole thing.
I think he's given the argument that he believes that early on, at least, because he did have a stretch there, Ty Simpson, where he may have been at the top of the Heisman board.
That's when Vanderbilt ran into Ty Simpson,
Yes.
right? When Ty Simpson was at the peak of his powers this season, that's when Vanderbilt went to Alabama and lost.
Exactly.
He had a great game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so he had this stretch where he was playing, I think he had one interception and like 16, 17 touchdowns somewhere in there. And he was playing at a clip. And then all of a sudden it tapers off. Come to find out he was injured for much of the season after that. I've watched Alabama games where there were at least 5 drops. And I'm talking about in the first half. So his receivers didn't help him at all last year, especially early on in the season. And then he didn't, he was hurt. So he didn't get the benefit of having a healthier season. But a lot of people just look at that stretch and say, hey, listen, had he been, healthy throughout the season, had he had more weapons or weapons that showed up for him, because he had the receivers, they were just dropping balls.
The point that, or a couple of the points that Orlovsky made, I do think passed my eye test for whatever that's worth. Like, I think when you watch Simpson, you do see talent.
Yes.
You do see a guy also that sort of had to make it happen. They didn't have a great running game for Alabama. And like you said, for all the accolades of their receivers, especially Ryan Williams didn't have a great year, right? Their receivers they're talented for sure. So I can see, just the talent popping off the page with Simpson as opposed to Mendoza, who had a tremendous system around him. Everything was executed so well. But another thing we've come to learn in the NFL is if you're really, really on top of your fundamentals and understanding of defenses, you do well, even if your talent doesn't pop off the page, right? Brady, Breeze, Manning, talent, yeah, but ridiculously good athletes. Like I see athleticism with Simpson and arm talent. Can he harness all of it? I think he would be more of a project. Whereas Mendoza, because of the experience, I think it's a little bit more of a known quantity. But I am wary, as great as he was for Indiana, just the greatness of the entire team around him made his job easier than Simpson's job. Would we agree on that?
Yeah, if you look at Simpson and sort of his supporting cast, Mendoza had 2,000-yard rushers. 2,000-yard
He didn't have
rushers.
to throw it as much.
You know how many 1,000-yard rushers Simpson had? 0. You know how many yards they rushed for as a team? 1,500 yards, somewhere around there. You know how many yards Indiana rushed for as a team? 3,400 yards. So
over twice the amount.
Exactly. So he had, and I'm not.
So how many passing attempts for each guy?
And didn't you tell me, Willie, when we were talking about
379 for Mendoza, and he had more attempts. Ty had more attempts, 473.
Yeah, so he had to throw it more.
Yes, he had to throw it more.
Didn't you tell me during the Heisman race that Fernando Mendoza barely attempted passes in the fourth quarter because Indiana?
Yeah,
was
they were so far ahead
teams
in most of their games. Yeah,
yes,
that was my argument for Pavia because of the heat that was on him week in, week out. They had a lot less lopsided games where Indiana was in the driver's seat. Now, when they needed it,
yeah, he
came
through.
He
did come through. Like when they were it was Iowa early and Penn State late, right? Where he had to make the
even
plays
in Miami, even
did.
in national championship game.
Yes,
he made the
so
throw.
Full marks, and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game for sure. But the numbers for the course of the game and the amount of pressure that he was under wasn't that high.
My question is,
like, I'm thinking, could he be Gino Torretta? I don't know, like, because that was the rap on Gino Torretta, right? He was the Heisman Trophy winner for a loaded Miami team back in the day. He wasn't the first overall pick, but he never sniffed anything in the NFL. Matt Leinart, the same way. There are quarterbacks who were great college quarterbacks on loaded teams that got drafted high and just they weren't able to translate it.
My question is there a team out there that feels the way that Orlovsky does and is willing to move up to attempt to grab Simpson, what could that mean for the top 10? What could that mean for the Titans? I can't imagine someone trading up with the Titans at 4 to take Ty Simpson.
No.
That seems too.
I would
never
like
know,
for somebody to do that.
You never know.
I
never
wish
know.
somebody did that, but I don't think he's not the guy. If he falls to you middle first round, or if you got to move up a spot or two and you're talking about the middle to the lower half of the first round, you may just do that if you feel the same way that Dan does. But again, it's it's the how much time has he had on this task, with this task, meaning how many times has he got underneath center as a starter? He just doesn't have a lot of hours underneath compared to Mendoza and some of these other quarterbacks.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the NFL draft. But coming up next, it's an oldie but a goodie. It's Friday. Let's dust off Ask D-Mase. Your questions for Derek Mason at 615-737-1025. Call us, text us. Mostly nothing is off limits. Just keep it PG, people. 615-737-1025. The return of Ask D-Mase coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
D-Mase. He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now,
D-Mase.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time to bring back Ask D-Mase on D-Mase, Vingan, and Donick, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan with you here, David James as well. And today I thought, you know what? Let's have a throwback. Let's bring Ask D-Mase out of mothballs and let's have some fun on a Friday evening. So if you have a question for Derek, call, text 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. But Willie, during the break, you had an interesting question for Derek that you wanted to share with the class.
Well, I think this could be good for people to weigh in for Ask D-Mase, so I'll just ask D-Mase. I've been noticing here in recent weeks the number of, I guess what they call them is Waymos, the driverless vehicles have been coming around my neighborhood more. And at first I was like, what is that? You know, the little signal thing on the top of the car. I didn't know what that was about for a while, but it's increased in volume. So my question is, would you guys take a ride in a driverless car on the highway?
Wow.
How do you even hail one of these driverless
I don't know.
cars?
I don't know. I'm just learning about it myself.
I think there's an app, and maybe an app for it.
Something about
the Wemo app.
Something about being in a car without a driver freaks me out. I know that technology is what it is, and we've made some incredible advances in technology. But I think I'd like to stick with someone actually behind the wheel of the car.
I'm with you. I'm not sure if I can get in a, one fully autonomous car and nobody's in a car seat, meaning in the driver's seat. Nah. I didn't see too many movies, one too many movies, man. And what if something happens and that car decides to take you just anywhere?
So
and I understand they've mapped it out great, and I'm sure there are protocols, but I'm thinking like, what if this thing just decides to not take me to the airport and take me past the airport?
So you'd rather have a problem with a human in the vehicle, because we all acknowledge, right, that if you get a ride from somebody else, a taxi driver or an Uber or whatever, they're flawed, they're human, they could make a mistake. But I don't like it. Probably in 10 years, we might have a different feeling now. But I think we're all kind of like, I've never done it. I don't know how many of our listeners have ever taken a ride in one of those without a driver in there. The first time you do it, it's got to be kind of freaky, right?
I'm sure it does. You have no, I wouldn't do it for the first time by myself. I tell you that. I wouldn't go by myself.
So the three of us need to go.
Yeah, the three of us need to go.
Look, if we all go down, we're going down together.
Exactly. And then one of us can jump into the driver's seat, from the front seat.
Okay.
Or can somebody drive in the front seat? Me in the driver's seat.
You can't just hop in and start driving.
No, I'm saying, can you hop in the driver's seat? And it drives. You see what I'm saying? Like, if something happens, I can control.
That'll be a movie someday.
I can control it.
Runaway car, you have to jump into the driver's seat and take it yourself.
Yeah, but when I saw that movie, I forgot what movie it was. It was very popular, maybe a year ago. When those cars just started running into each other, and they were coming from other areas, and they just nope, I won't do that. I won't even. Yep. I won't
Jack.
So you guys are no.
I'm a no.
I'm a no. Jack though says took a Waymo in Atlanta, life changing. Would trust a robot more than most drivers in Nashville.
See, that becomes the other side of the argument.
Another texter says,
some bad drivers out there.
Waymo is the new way that the mob and the government takes people out.
So we have both ends of the spectrum represented on the text line.
I love conspiracy theories. Y'all know that. You got to give me some proof. Give me a little proof.
This actually happened to me today. I was walking my dog around the neighborhood. A Waymo is coming down a main street with no stop sign. I was just standing there waiting for a clear path to go across. No, it's not a crosswalk either. where it says, pedestrian crossing where you're supposed to yield to the pedestrian. Didn't have that. I was just standing there. The Waymo slowed down and stopped in the middle of the street and waited for me and my dog to go across, which I thought was odd because I was like, that's not what a
There's
car's
no
supposed to
stop
do
signs.
there. Yeah.
Would you?
I was like, hey, am I just a special guy? That the
You could
Waymo was like,
be.
hey, that's Willie. I'm stopping.
Hey, it's Willie. It's Willie got it.
One texter says you can't be in the front seat. Waymo has passenger escorts that monitor.
Oh, so someone's always in the car, is what this person is saying.
I guess so. I think that's
Well,
weirder.
exactly.
I think
Have
that's
somebody
weirder.
drive.
Well, nobody was sitting in the driver's seat when I looked at that car today.
But I think it's weirder if it's a robot car with a human in the passenger seat. That's
Yeah.
not you.
Exactly.
I
I would
don't know.
find that weird.
Richie
why am I
Richie
doing
from
this?
White House says those Waymo are something scary. There was an incident this past week where one of those cars crashed into a construction site, I believe in downtown Nashville. I would be scared about those.
Yeah, again, it's
Might wait a few years for them to work out the kinks before you really.
a few, more like 10 for me. Would you buy an fully autonomous car, Willie?
What? Okay, you meaning
it drives itself?
Meaning I can sit at the
You
driver's.
can sit at the driver's seat and take control, but like you put it in your address, whatever
and it
address you're
gets-
going, and it's
takes you
just
there.
going to take you. And would you go to sleep?
I don't think I'd go to sleep. Now, can I do it? But then I can
Yeah, you
manually
can.
control it if
Yeah,
I
you
want.
can.
So a
I
Tesla?
consider that.
Yeah,
Just basically a Tesla.
that's essentially what it is. I didn't want to give, I didn't want to say it on air.
Oh,
but
my
yeah,
that's
essentially
on
what
me.
it
That's
is.
that's on me.
No. But I don't know if I can. No, I can't do that either. I couldn't, even if it was my car, I couldn't do that.
Andrew from Dover says, Derek, I recently got an unopened box of 2003 Topps football cards.
Ooh.
I opened them and pulled out perfect cards of you, McNair, George, Kurse, and Wycheck. Who do I send it to be? Who do I send to be graded first?
Who do you send to be graded first? What do you mean by that?
The quality of the card, right? I'm not a card collector, but
they got a term for this now, isn't there? Like a
I don't-
service?
yes,
that you
yeah, I
can
don't
call
know the,
TS10 or
term.
something like that. I forget what it's.
See, I don't know like the trading card.
Is it
world
PS or
lingo.
TS? There are services that will look at your card and give it a
Evaluate it?
grade. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. If I answer that in a way that seems snarky, I just don't know the lingo.
the last
the-
cards I collected were Pokemon cards, and that was like 20 years ago.
I remember back in the day
25
with
years ago.
Willie, when we were growing up collecting cards.
Oh, I got.
Oh man,
I still have all of mine. Shoe boxes full of them. in my
a buddy of
basement.
mine around the corner. He
Smell like
had
mildew.
an album full of cards.
Yeah. I have some that I've set aside that have some value, but I was always one that it was about the handling. I like reading the cards. I like trading the cards. I wasn't one like, oh, let's put it in a let's put it in a hermetically sealed box and keep it in perfect condition. I just wasn't.
You should
that
have
guy.
been.
I should have. Yeah. But I never looked at it as a investment. Some people are all about the investment.
It was just a hobby for you, collecting cards and trading with your buddies.
Yeah, that was fun.
I remember the
smell
bubble.
like the
I remember
bubblegum
the
smell.
bubble gum used to
Yeah.
come in the back of a stick of
Oh,
bubble gum.
yeah. Just
Oh, that was
stale,
the best.
hard.
You would eat the
Still
bubble
chew it,
gum,
yeah.
and just read through your cards. Love it.
Let's go to our friend Hair Metal Henry on our phone line. Hair Metal Henry, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Afternoon, gents. It's been a minute. My decision on the Waymo depends on how much both of us have had to drink. So that's all. Adam, I wanted to wish you a very belated congratulations on the birth of your daughter.
Oh, thank you
As
very much.
As a girl dad myself, my only advice is maybe call Darcy Hordichuk to teach Arlo how to fight to defend her honor. So, guys, sometimes I like to throw these to the floor. As a kid of the 70s, myself, and much like every red-blooded American young boy, had the Farrah Fawcett poster on his wall until 1980, when I saw Bo Derek running down the beach in the movie 10, and my celebrity crush was born. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Ooh, man.
Okay, this is going to date me terribly.
Wow.
Should I go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay.
He said it's going to date him, but it's not really going to date us, Willie. But go ahead.
It will date the two of you as well, because I'm not sure you'll have any knowledge of who I am talking about. But as a child of the 90s, I loved Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Absolutely loved that show. I actually got Arlo to start watching it a few months ago. He's since lost interest. But my first celebrity crush was the Pink Ranger herself, Amy Jo Johnson. She was a fox. She was a fox. And I think she still is. But Amy Jo Johnson, a.k.a. the Pink Power Ranger on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, she was my first celebrity crush. Go, Power Rangers.
Dun, dun, dun. I used to watch Power Rangers back in the day.
So you know what I'm talking about.
But I didn't look at it like
Amy Jo Johnson. She can get it. Okay, you guys go now.
He's gonna get himself in trouble. But
already to the start.
Let me see. Mine's this was probably around the 5th grade. Somewhere around there. Anita Baker. Oh, I love me some Anita Baker back in the day. I think everybody did, but back Anita Baker and Whitney Houston. Those two, man, boy.
So the singers got you.
Yeah, they were my girlfriends. They didn't know it. They were my girlfriends.
Well, that's usually how it works. Yeah.
I kind of can't wait to hear who Willie's celebrity crush was growing up.
I'm gonna go with Elizabeth Shue from the Karate Kid.
Okay, yeah.
Allie, a little athletic.
Yes.
Got the look, girl next door, but
tomboyish, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so. I think I wouldn't say that, but
fair enough.
She had the whole package to me. I would go Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue,
the Karate Kid.
Okay, we've got a lot of people lending their support to Waymo. One texter says they already have Waymo in Atlanta, Austin, Texas, Arizona, and other states. There are no other riders in the car except you. I think they are safer than human drivers. It's the wave of the future. May as well ride it.
Man, I don't know. I'm not doing it by myself. I tell you that.
Let's go to our text line. One texter says, Derek, can you please unpack camp a bit for me, meaning training camp? I heard you say maybe the Titans will see if someone impresses them at camp to win center. How do teams not know if someone can play or not if they've been previously rostered and have film? And how does camp help?
I think for younger guys and older guys too, in particular, guys that are coming in as free agents that, and I'm not talking about these high price free agents. I'm talking about the guys that you bring in that are on like 1-year deals or something like that, 2-year deals. Then what camp is different now. And that's what I have to keep reminding myself. The camp now is different because my camp gave an opportunity for guys to develop because it was time on task. We were there a lot more than they are now. So you had an opportunity to work with the coaches, to sort of go over the playbook over and over and over again. That's why, guys could win a job in camp because it was so long. And it wasn't like, you were learning, more than I'm learning. Or we just didn't have enough time. And because you were here last year, you're one up on me. It's not like that now. You have less time together, which means less development. And coaches hate it. They hate it. And players, I think when you really start to understand the development and how to develop, it is sort of like it's a bad thing that you don't get the time that you necessarily need. Because guys, we complained a lot about back in the day. It was like, man, we want to spend time with our families. We're here every day, yada, yada, yada. But not knowing that being there every day, being there allowed you to develop a lot quicker than what these guys are developing now. But now, hey, this is all they know. And however they try to develop guys within a system that they built, it has been difficult, especially with the offensive line. Offensive lines get better the longer they play together. If you have a good if they are good in a sense, they just don't have that. That's why it takes a team like the Tennessee Titans, who not only at one point their line was young, but they were hurt. So you're bringing guys in and out. They just didn't get the time to develop and the time to play play with one another. That offensive line 10, 15 years ago, they would have so many hours just, dedicated to just developing that once they get into the game, it's like, okay, there's a lot that I know And there's a lot that I've been through. I can take you through every scenario that you will probably see. They can't do that now because you just don't have the time.
615-737-1025. We'll continue Ask D-Mase. Coming up next, questions for Derek, 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. D-Mase, Finnegan and Donick, 1025. The Game continuing. Ask D-Mase. By the way, Willie, texters have validated our childhood crushes. Eric says Elizabeth Shue was apparently a pretty good soccer player in her youth. Agree, Willie. Really blossomed as a heartthrob in The Saint with Val Kilmer.
That one I'm not. I hadn't seen her in that one. Adventures in Babysitting. Anyone? But Karate Kid is the feature. That's the one.
Kevin says Amy Jo Johnson looks just like Jennifer Garner, who is also a hottie. That is true. Nothing for Anita Baker. I'm sorry, Derek.
Jennifer Gardner,
don't worry about it.
Denison University graduate. I have my hat on today.
I
Shout
learned
out to the
something
number one
today.
Big Red and the women's national champions in Division III NCAA basketball.
Very nice.
Denison's on a roll. They're on a roll.
Derek, one texter asks you, which current receivers in the NFL compare to Carnell Tate's games? I know y'all listed a few receivers who ran slower 40 times, but it seems like those guys have traits that Tate lacks, such as explosion and yak potential.
He reminds me of T. Higgins, and I've said this before. I think T. Higgins is a hell of a football player. And Carnell Tate reminds me of him. He's fluid. He's like a deer running. He's effortless, in a sense. And just like T. Higgins, Carnell Tate is excellent at the combative catches. T. Higgins, he excels at that. So if I'm trying to get a comparison, I think T. Higgins, for me, and other people may not see that, but I see T. Higgins in him. That's why, I like Carnell Tate as a prospect, and if the Titans were to draft him, I'll be excited, but not at 4. Not at 4.
You would trade down.
Yeah, I would trade down to get him
and acquire
because I
Carnell
think
Tate.
he's still going to be a top 10 pick, but I wouldn't take him at 4.
Richie from White House says D-Mase or Willie or even Adam. Oh, thank you, Richie. I like that. D-Mase or Willie or even.
Well, I guess if you want to weigh Adam.
Or even Adam. Thank you. My name is also on the show. What are your thoughts with all of the traffic in Nashville? Would you go on the new underground Music City Loop once it's finished, or stick to driving yourself to the airport? It's an underground tunnel that is operated by electric vehicles only, that is supposed to take you from downtown Nashville to the airport in a much quicker way to avoid all the traffic on the interstate. Since Willie brought up the Waymo topic, thought about this as well and curious what you guys think.
No, and no again.
You don't like tunnels?
I don't want to be stuck in this. Anything, because there might be anything can happen. And you get stuck in a car that no one's driving. And you're underneath, you're in the tunnel. No. Leave that for somebody. I can drive myself to the airport.
For those who are unfamiliar, the Music City Loop will be a cutting-edge, zero-emission underground transit system connecting downtown Nashville, Music City Center, and Lower Broadway to West End Avenue and the Nashville International Airport. Spanning almost 13 miles, it will take approximately 10 minutes to travel from B&A to Lower Broadway.
So, how do you get in there? You say, I'm going to the airport. And
but why wouldn't I just take you? But what if I, like, people that live here, I don't see why you would use it unless you live downtown or live near those spots where you can, get in and it takes you straight to the airport. But if I'm Green Hills or, Hendersonville, why wouldn't I just drive to the airport? Why would I go park, pay for parking, get in another car, pay for that, go to the airport, come? I just take myself to the airport. And just got to pay the
I need to learn
airport
more
parking.
how about this is.
Yeah, because that doesn't seem feasible when you're talking about, individuals in their pocketbook. Like, why would I want to take that extra step? I might as well just call it Uber or Waymo to go, right? Unless I live downtown.
I'm skeptical.
I wouldn't do it.
I'm skeptical.
We are way behind, though, in our transportation system.
But we don't need an underground transportation. Just need more transportation.
We should have already been working on something, or already had something in place by now. With the way our city's grown, it's
who that thing is
not
really
going to get
for?
any easier.
Yeah, you know who that's for? Tourists. That's who it's for.
Well, that's fine. There are a lot of tourists here.
Yeah, so at least that's what I think. Again, if you live downtown, then yeah, you can use it. But are they running every hour on the hour or every 30 minutes? How's it running? That's what I would want to know.
Damian wants to know, what happened to the days when a running back was a must draft in the top 5, even when the Eddie George, Sean Alexander type evolved to the Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson type?
Because the NFL has found a way to devalue running backs. So they want, it's all about money. If they can find a way to devalue the quarterback, they'll find that way too. But you just can't, because you need the quarterback. Now we've said, well, we really don't need a running back, which is not the case. You do need one. And you need a very effective one. So, they found a way. I don't know. I don't even know when it started. When do you think that started, Willie? When they started was it sort of after let me see. Was it after the Barry days or after the Adrian Peterson?
I think it was definitely a product of the salary cap. As that came much more into play, I think people were figuring, I could find the running back for less money. So I'm trying to think of like Emmitt Smith throughout the 90s on into the early 2000s. He was definitely, I'm trying to think of some of the last ones.
Yeah, like the last,
that were just, you draft them, you give them the ball 300 times every year, sometimes more.
Eddie was sort of in that last sort of
probably the last batch.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson, he was probably a guy that lasted a little longer past those guys, but they became more rare.
Yeah, the further and further you got away from that sort of era of running backs.
And guys that you would pay the big money to. It's rare. Like Saquon Barkley, he got it, right? It just wasn't from the team that drafted him.
Giants, yeah.
But they're just, Derrick Henry for sure is another guy that is a throwback in that respect.
But he was a second rounder. He was a second round pick. It's not like they're drafting running backs in the second round, but it's almost like we need to, even though, because I guess they look at what a running back's production doesn't like it's not worthy. Even when you are a 1,500-yard rusher or a 1,400-yard rusher, there's still sort of this taboo of, even though you are you still ain't worth a top 10 pick.
And by the time you're eligible to get that next big contract, you've got a certain amount of wear or tear.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say, well, he won't be what he has been because he's beat up. He's starting to get injuries. He's going to wear down.
Yeah.
So let's not give him the huge money. So I think there's just all these theories of there's another way to get the production from the running backs. I get 2 guys or 3 guys, and I'll get the job done, and I'll save money and use it on other parts of the roster.
Josh says, hey, Derek, what was your 40 time then and now? And who at the station would have the fastest 40 time right now besides you?
See, I did what Cardinal Lake didn't do. I ran a 4.51 or 4.52, but I wanted to run again because I knew I was faster than that. I ended up running a 4.43 at my pro day. So because I knew I could, and there was the competitor in me. I need to prove I can run faster.
What went wrong?
I just don't think I was. I just don't think I was prepared. I don't.
So how long after that did you run the 4.43?
It may have been. Let me see. Combine was right around the same time as it is now.
So like a month later.
Yeah, it was about a month later. Yeah.
What did you have to do?
I think it was just technique.
I
think it was technique and just being comfortable. Because we did it at Michigan State. So just being comfortable with my surroundings, and because when you're at the combine, man, there's so much stuff going on. I mean, interviews, talking to this person, talking to that person. You got to go here. You got to do this. And it's always just this constant thing ever going. And for some guys, fast guys are fast no matter what. But I felt that I could best represent myself back at my university once I had more time to sort of train.
You have to answer Josh's second question.
Okay.
Who at the station would have the fastest 40 time other than you?
Other than me, man, I'm trying to look. Gosh, I don't know.
Let's eliminate some people.
Let me see. We're going to eliminate
me.
It's not even close.
Chase.
Oh, it's clearly Willie.
Big Joe.
He's angling for this. It's clearly
I
Willie.
feel like
it would have to be Willie. Yeah.
I gotta get 100%, but I feel like I could still win the runner-up race.
Willie's long strides See, Robbie is the guy that Robbie is the unknown.
I would definitely pull something at the end of it, but I hopefully get 38, 39 of the yards before that happened.
And they're like, and fall the remainder.
Just momentum would carry me the rest of the way.
But Robbie is the sneaky one.
Mm-hmm.
Jake. Now, Jake, we got to throw Jake in there too.
Yeah, Lyman.
Yeah,
can
he
do
got
it.
Jake in there. Yeah,
He's got young legs. He's got the young legs.
Yeah, I thought about Connor, but no,
No, Connor would pull something.
Yeah, Connor would pull something.
He would pull something 20 yards in.
Yeah. So I would say Willie and Jake.
Yeah.
And Robbie still is an unknown.
Okay.
Robbie's an unknown. So
yeah, I'm taking myself out of the running, no pun intended, on this one. Let's go to Eric, who's been waiting patiently on our phone line. Eric, thank you for waiting. Go ahead.
Hey, D-Mase, so when they fully come autonomous, you can call me up and I'll go with you. I can tell you, I was in San Francisco not too long ago, and I was raised there. And so on a particular night, I had my wife and my son-in-law and my buddy who's a cop there in San Francisco. You literally just get on your app, you call it up, thing pulls up, it announces your name, sends you a code, you open it up, you're in a Jaguar. And I took it down, told it to go someplace I know would be tough. It was a Friday night, 7 o'clock, and that thing just performed magnificently. It's unbelievable. You just tell it what kind of music you want it to play, and it plays the music. And then there's about 400 of these in San Francisco. So as you're driving, you can see that all these cars that are these Waymos, they're helping each other out. Like, so if there's a block lane of traffic, another one will pull up beside you and let you in. So everything keeps moving. It's pretty incredible, really. So, you know, I'm in the transportation business. I'm going to say within about 5 to 8 years, you won't even see Ubers around anymore because
oh, wow.
You got to remember, they've never made money. No, I mean, they'll make money recently because of the, you know, the delivering of food and stuff, but they're billions and billions of dollars, never made a dime. And they've all been waiting for this autonomous because this is what will allow them to make money. And I'll give you my 2 cents real quick on the tunnels. I'm going to show you what we can do phase. And the way it's going to go, you either got to build up or you got to build down to fix transportation in Nashville. So you'll see this project come in, and if it does well, which I think it probably will, then, you know, the state and the feds own all the interstates and all the state highways, which is our major thoroughfares. So what you'll see in a few years, maybe 10 altogether, all these congested areas, they'll have tunnels underneath because they have the right of way to build, either the feds or the state. And the way that AI is working with transportation is you might be in a vehicle coming from Murfreesboro under 24, and they'll be bigger by then. They'll be like 20 and 30 passenger electric vehicles. And then when you get to your location where the route doesn't run, you'll have a vehicle waiting for you to take you to your final destination. So
Thank you for the call, Eric. We do appreciate
that's
the
some
lesson.
detail right there.
Yeah, it is. I wonder, because you know how, you know, bikers or truckers, you know, when they pass one another, you know, bikers sometimes get the fingers like peace down or something, and they, you know, or you know, truck guys like,
yeah.
What do Wemos do when they see each other? Do they flicker the lights at each other? They bunk the horn. Hey, keep on. But to me, it's like, it may be, listen, you just got to get used to it. I'm sure. But just getting in a car with no one in the passenger, in the driver's seat, man, I don't know.
What an age we live in.
Yes. But listen, this has been told to us. We watched the Jetsons. The Jetsons had FaceTime.
Yeah.
They had autonomous cars. They had flying cars. They had robot dogs.
Do you recall?
And we have it all basically now.
Do you recall what year the Jetsons was set in?
Was it 20? Was it 20 like 30 or 2040 somewhere right there?
2062.
2062?
I did not know that
because I believe the show debuted in 1962.
I would have guessed
it was
the
100
1960s
years
was when it came
in the
out.
future.
Yeah.
2062.
I thought they were just telling like the time, like fast forward to like 2030 or something like.
Yeah, we've got robot maids.
And
robot
dogs.
Robot dogs and we don't have any spaceships yet that we can just regularly jump into and go to work. But
they trying to.
We'll get there.
If you got the money,
It's starting with Waymo. Eventually, Waymo it'll be able to fly. Maybe 615-737-1025. We will wrap up the show by taking it to the bank. Coming up next, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025. The Game.
Hey, this is Derek Mason. If you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. But Law Tigers fights to get you the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. Look, they know how much your bike is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired or better yet, replaced. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Freeman and Fuson, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Street South. And don't forget, go to predatorsbike.com to enter to win a custom Nashville Predator Indian motorcycle signed by the entire team, courtesy of Law Tigers and Music City Indian. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D-Mase, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you as we do at the end of the week, every week. It's time to take it to the bank. David James, you have the totals for last week, plus bonus points for our upset picks.
Yep.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Adam. So first and foremost, let's start off with the general questions. One of our general questions was Vandy, Nebraska, over under 146.
I got it by 5 points, didn't I?
You got no. Let me finish. So it was 146.
146.5.
Yes.
146.5. And the total was
146.
146.
Yes. So
Vegas nailed that one.
The half got you guys on that one.
So who had the over and the under? I can't remember.
Me and you had the over.
Oh.
And
I had
Willie
the under.
and
I had
D-Mase
under.
the
Exactly.
Yeah.
I knew it.
All
When I saw
right.
the score, I was like, yes. That
Vegas
0.5
Vegas
won
knows
it.
what it's doing.
They let that half, man, gets us every time.
So Tyler Tanner screwed me is what I'm hearing. Just
That's what I'm
kidding.
hearing. That's
Just
what I'm
kidding.
Then the next one was, will St. Louis cover against Michigan by 12.5?
Sad.
That did not happen.
boy.
You three picked St. Louis, and this guy, David James, picked Michigan.
I wasn't going to pick Michigan.
I know you weren't, but I had to do it because you guys all picked St. Louis. I was like, I'm gonna be
Yes,
different.
you had
And
to be
so-
different.
But now let's go to individual picks. You said Duke versus TCU. You picked Duke versus TCU. You said TCU would cover,
They didn't.
and they didn't. But you got the win. So you know what?
Yeah,
Good.
you'll take it.
And then you also said Houston would cover the 10.5. They did do that. So you only got 3 points for a total of 125 total points.
All right.
Now, Willie, you said Michigan State minus 4.5 against Louisville. That did happen. But then you said Mizzou would cover 1.5 against
Very
Miami,
disappointing.
and that did not happen.
A dud by Missouri.
You got a total of 4 points for 139 total points. Now,
Try to close in on the title.
That's what you are. That's what you're trying to do.
We go to the end of the tournament, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So we're almost there.
Now, D-Mase, you first off, you got 2.5 points
Mhm.
because of your upset pick.
Yeah.
And you also got additional 3 points because you picked, additional 3 points for your UCF cover against UCLA for 5.5.
Yep.
But you also picked Vandy to beat
Yeah,
Nebraska.
I
and
did.
that
I
didn't
knew
happen.
that. Gosh.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
So Derek gets 5.5 points.
He gets 6.5 points
6.5 points. All right.
for
I take it.
103.5.
Okay, I'm
points.
above the 100. Yeah,
you
the
made-
century mark.
But David had the biggest upset pick of the week
I know.
I did. I got 10.5 points. Shout out
for High Point over Wisconsin.
I did. And I picked High Point to cover against Arkansas. Got those points. And I also picked Vandy to make 10 plus threes. They made 13.
David had a good week.
David
I had a
had a
great
good
week,
week.
except freaking Vandy.
Aw.
Tyler. I love Tyler, though, so I'm not going to be too upset with them. But I got a total of, let me do the math, 17.5 total points.
Whoa.
Wow.
For
Goodness.
118.5.
Wow. All right. It's
I'm
getting
catching
tight.
up to you, Adam.
It's getting tight down the stretch. We have a couple of weeks left. Let's start with the first of the general questions. Tonight, a 10 p.m. Central tip-off, Tennessee versus Iowa State for a trip to the Elite Eight to take on either Michigan or Alabama. Iowa State favored by 3.5. Who you got? Willie Donick.
I'll take Tennessee. Tennessee
Derek?
plus 3.5.
I'm going with the Vols.
I'm taking the Cyclones to cover.
Give me the
David?
Cyclones.
All right. Split down the middle. Tomorrow, a 7:49 p.m. tip-off, a 7:49 p.m. Central tip-off at the Shark Tank in San Jose. A trip to the Final Four on the line. Number 2 Purdue versus number 1 Arizona. Arizona favored by 6.5. Who you got? Willie Don.
I think it'll be close for a long time. I will take Arizona to pull away and cover.
Derek?
I'm taking Arizona.
I will also take the Wildcats. David, does that mean you're taking the Boilermakers?
No, because I have Arizona winning my brackets. I'm gonna continue that. Go Zona.
Okay. To the individual portion of the program, I will begin. The other Elite Eight matchup tomorrow. Number 9 Iowa versus number 3 Illinois. The Illini favored by 7.5. The Hawkeyes have been a great story. Give me the Fighting Illini to cover that 7.5. The Predators have 2 big games this weekend. Tomorrow at home against Montreal. Sunday on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sign me up for at least two Steven Stamkos goals over the 2 games. At least 2 Steven Stamkos goals in the games between Montreal tomorrow and his return to Tampa on Sunday. Willie, your individual selections.
I will take Illinois minus the 7.5. I like how they're playing right now. And I think Iowa has done tremendously well to get to this point, but I think their time is up. And I will take Duke to cover against St. John's minus the 6.5. I just think St. John's is too offensively challenged to score enough to beat Duke. I think St. John's will play really good defense, but Duke will find a way to get enough to pull away and win.
And Duke will have its full complement of players. Caleb Foster, who broke his foot in the regular season finale on March 7th against North Carolina, had surgery the following day. He is in the lineup for Duke tonight. He's not starting, but less than 3 weeks from foot surgery, he's playing. That's pretty remarkable. I did not expect Caleb Foster to return. He will be in the lineup. Derek?
All right, we get our 2 picks. I am picking Duke to win by more than 10 points.
Oh, geez, you guys.
Yes, I'm picking Duke. They
You're
got their,
freaking me out.
They got
here,
their
guys.
full complement of players.
You're freaking me out.
I've seen St. John's. They can't hit the broadside of a barn. They need volume to win basketball games, and I don't think Duke is going to give them volume.
I got to look at what St. John's shot last week against Kansas.
It wasn't good. It couldn't have been good.
Let's see. St. John's shot against Kansas, 25 of 69 from the field. That's 36%. 11 of 35 from 3.
I
31%.
predict Duke will win by 10 or more points.
From your lips to God's ears, gentlemen, but you know me. I'm nervous.
And
I'm nervous.
I am going with Amen to score 20 or more points.
Wow. Now that
they need him. They need him.
That may
in this
be a
game.
degree of difficulty.
They need him in this game. They're going to need him
because Amen has not been playing well
No.
through 2 games. David?
All right, boys. So I am also going to go to the Duke and St. John's game. I'm going to be a little different. The Godfather. I cannot take away the Godfather.
Can't pick against
I can't
Pitino,
pick
huh?
against Pitino. So give me the St. John Johnnies, baby.
Okay.
Oh.
And then because of, me picking Michigan last week, and I can't do that to my fellow boy, the Spartan, my Spartan Vela, go green.
Go white.
So I'm going to pick Alabama to cover against Michigan in the 9.5.
Okay. I like that.
That game could be a track meet. The over-under is 172.5.
Goodness. Good thing
Alabama can't defend. Alabama can score. Alabama cannot defend. Michigan can score and defend.
Yeah.
Alabama can score but cannot defend. So it could be interesting for the Crimson Tide.
I think Michigan could score 100 in this one.
They
they
probably
might
will.
give up 99, but I think Michigan's going to score a lot of points in this game.
It could happen. Derek, final thoughts. Michigan State, UConn tonight, 8:45.
This is going to be a good game. But I'm looking for, Izzo to, get past Sweet 16, make it to the Elite 8, and hopefully go against your
Excuse me.
Blue Devils.
Wow.
Your Blue Devils. Go against your Blue Devils.
He loves the Tar Heels.
I am disgusted.
You love the Tar
He's
Heels.
a big Tar Heel
You're a
fan.
big Tar Heel fan.
If
Blue
Duke,
Devils.
If Duke gets by St. John's and Michigan State gets by UConn, the group chat's not going to be very friendly on Sunday.
Is
That's all I'm
Dan
saying.
Hurley going to get a T tonight? He's getting a T. He's getting one.
He needs to get
No
one.
question.
This is not for take it to the bank.
Mhm.
I think Dan Hurley and Nate Oates each get teed up tonight. Because Nate Oates, don't forget
He
about
loves
Nate
to get
Oates.
him a T.
Nate Oates, he's animated too. He's not on the same level as Dan Hurley, but he's
He's up there.
He's Dan Hurley adjacent. So
No question.
that'll do it for us this week. We will be back Monday at 3:00. We'll see the outcome of the rest of the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. The Final Four will be set when we're back on the air. The Predators have 2 big games this weekend. Tomorrow against the Montreal Canadiens. A 6 p.m. Central puck drop, 5 p.m. pregame right here on 102.5 The Game. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We will talk to you Monday at 3.
Be loved, love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful weekend. I love you. The team loves you. You hear that music. Don't you forget about us, because we will not forget about you. See you Monday at 3 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. Peace.